Episcopal Charities has walked the walk and been there every step of the way. We have always turned to them for the support that we need, not just financially, but the logistical support and the emotional support. Episcopal Charities has always been there to make sure that this ministry not only survives but thrives.
They stepped right in and got us large quantities of fresh produce to be able to give to people. Even the weekly catch-up meetings are really helpful because they help us to understand that we're not alone out here.
Episcopal Charities came to Grace Church at the right time, just when we were beginning. We were figuring out things, and besides giving us the funds, they gave us a lot of advice on how to store the food and how to deal with the volunteers and how to organize it in a more effective way.
When the pandemic came in, we got a whole bunch of new people coming into the food pantry, people who had just lost their jobs, people who couldn't access unemployment or who had jobs that didn't give them unemployment. People with children who were in tears, who were so glad to get their food from the food pantry.
One thing I miss that I can't intact, yes. And I'm glad we have here at St. Anne's that we can make them feel welcome, that they have something they can go home with, fix for their kids, their loved ones, relatives, neighbor, whatever. And it's hard.
My son is not working. His wife can't find work because of the pandemic. And we need to eat, and we need, I'm ashamed. Sometimes I'd be ashamed to come for help, but they told me not to be ashamed. They're here for the community, for the families that's in need, and they welcome me and my family in with open arms, and I thank God for them.
As soon as the food pantry is over, and sometimes even before, the after school comes in. And then the young teachers, who are college students mostly, will pick the children up at their neighborhood schools and bring them over to the church where they get a nutritious snack, and then they start doing homework and extra learning. Then they get a hot supper, and then they go home.
Here at St. Anne's, we believe that if you are hungry, you cannot function. And the reason why we feed our children is because we are giving them the best nutrition that we can provide to them. Today, we just have yogurt with some peaches, granola bars, and bananas, and they all love it.
Before the pandemic, we operated as a choice pantry that gathered in our parish house, where people could sit and have conversations and build relationships. That, of course, is not workable in a pandemic. So we had to completely adapt our distribution system to a drive-through in the parking lot. We also doubled our numbers almost overnight.
Now we're standing in the middle of the Giving Garden, which is about 7 years old with a big addition this past year. We have a little bit of just about every growing thing you can imagine that you'd want to eat. Tomatoes, peppers, no onions, but tons of lettuce. This year we're hoping to get about 5,000 pounds of produce from this garden, up from about half that last year. And all of that produce is going to go to people here in the food pantry community. And they love it. And they say to us things like, when we give them vegetables, they say, "Are these from our garden?"
In the time I've been here, it has expanded. And that's a success to the people who are running it. I mean, we have a new building going up. The number of people we have coming here, return people, they feel respected. And the fact that we were able to adjust during COVID. We used to be inside a building and people would line up in the building and we would be able to chit-chat with them while we were packing groceries. It's a little different now, but we still make sure we have that personal touch with people. And I leave here every Friday tired, but just really feeling the Lord's grace working here.
The volunteers are absolutely like family. And it's great to come together for a few hours every Friday and put together the vegetables and the fruit to give out to the people that need it. This is my food. This is how I eat every week. Without it, I don't.
Episcopal Charities has always been a huge support for St. Thomas. We rely on them for their guidance and grants that we've applied for over time. They helped us build our garden. They've helped us increase the level of food and everything that we give out to the people that come to our pantry. After COVID started, Patrick came and visited us, and we thought we had it dialed in. This was maybe the third week of everything being shut down and shifting out to the parking lot. And he said to us, well, what are you going to do in the winter? So through that, we've come to this new building that's being built. Episcopal Charities has been so amazing at supporting us and helping us guide us and fund part of our building. So we are so excited to not have to move all of this stuff. I'm praying 2 more weeks, and then everything will be in the new pantry and we'll be able to move on and make things a little easier than what we've been doing all summer.
Father Adolfo, who's the associate priest here, who's responsible for the Hispanic congregation, came to me and to the rector, Father Chip, and he said, we have a problem. 80% of the population of our congregation will really be affected by this lockdown because many of them work in the hospitality industry, many of them are undocumented, they don't have access to government funding, and we need to find a way to help.
Food that's coming in the emergency time is a unknown basket of goods, and it's not enough to complete meals. So you may get chicken, but you won't have anything necessarily to go with it, or peanut butter without bread, or there's no breakfast foods, or there's no ways to complete meals.
We come here and it's luck. We don't know what we're going to get on a given day. So I'm constantly thinking about how you would put this food to use. What we could make out of all the things. Like if you get a bag of food here today, what could you make? What could you have for supper with this food?
Episcopal Charities has been very helpful. We applied for the grant, they gave us the grant, and that gave us the big impulse so we can move on. It was really important because it was in the beginning of the ministry that we got the grant, and that made the ministry go forward. Well, we're here twice a week. On Wednesdays, it's the day that we collect all the donations. And besides collecting and sorting out the food, we have the volunteers bag the canned foods, bag the vegetables, and get everything ready for the distribution day. Besides that, we also have many people who give donations, clothing, kitchenware, all kinds of stuff, and even money to make this possible.
I spend most of the week looking for deals, trying to buy massive quantities of cereal or Chef Boyardee or the items that they need to give somebody a package of goods that can last them for some period in time.
Wednesday I have to work because I have to put everything together in 2-day jobs. Wednesday come and then Friday everything has to be ready. All cans like corn, everything that cans, and then I put it on rice, pasta, cookies, everything.
Fruit, cereal.
Yes, everything together.
As a priest, I like to be in action with God's people. You know, not just being in an office with a computer and doing sermons, and that is important. But being with the community, being out there like Jesus did. He was out there preaching to the people, you know, being with them, healing people. This is a ministry that's giving me direct contact with the community, and this is the kind of ministry that I like to do.